Sir Edward Lee.
I pay tribute to the Honourable Lady, and I want to follow her in talking about palliative care. And I want to start by reading an email that was sent by a personal friend and a constituent to me only yesterday. I apologise for adding to your thousands of emails you'll be receiving. I just wanted to tell you why I oppose the Right to Die bill. I know you are aware of the experience I had when my husband was dying. In hospital, we had a dreadful experience because they had no end-of-life care, and he suffered. Once in the hospice, it was a different story, and he received the loving care he rightly deserved. My argument is that instead of assisted dying, we should be spending much more money on end-of-life care and funding the wonderful hospice movement. Thank you for reading this. And I want to read another letter from a doctor, which I think encapsulates some of the problems that we are encountering in this issue. Only recently, I was giving my condolences to a grieving woman who had lost her husband in the early hours. He'd been given a few small doses of pain relief and mild sedatives over the last few nights for symptoms control, and had passed away peacefully at her side. She asked me in all seriousness, "Doctor, did the nurses give him something to make him die quicker last night?" This was an awful, lingering doubt that she had. I was able to firmly reassure her that no, the medication would not have sped up his passing. For her and the vast majority of other patients, doctors are there to prolong life and palliate symptoms. Were this to change, then we would not be doctors in the eyes of many, but bringers of death, agents of a state which counts its weakest members as expendable and worthy of nothing but an early grave. I do not want to be a member of a profession which has that reputation or role. So those are two witnesses that have written to me, and I have taken an increasing interest in this whole issue about palliative care, and I think that the law, frankly, will you forgive me because I know that so many people want to speak. I just want to develop this argument and then I want to finish. The law is so unclear. I've talked to a number of palliative care specialists, and they say that you can give as much morphine as you want to a patient, and you will not kill them. But there's real doubt in the minds of the public, and I think a lot of the impetus around this debate and why people apparently in these opinion polls are supportive of this measure is that they are terrified of dying in pain. But there is no need for this. I repeat that when I talk to consultants, practitioners in palliative care, they say that they can manage pain. But I was very struck by an email which was sent to me again from a constituent, a very touching email, which actually supported this bill on the grounds that when his wife was dying and he was begging the doctor in the National Health Hospital to give her more morphine, he said, "If I did that, I would be breaking the law." Now, I can see the Health Secretary sitting there. I really think that if we are going to have a serious debate about this, we really do need to have something equivalent to a Royal Commission to actually determine what doctors can or cannot do. And it is absolutely essential that we really reassure the public. And there is tremendous interest in this. And there's huge doubt. And many people are conflicted. And we've heard many moving stories about people's fear of dying in agony. But until we clear this up, I don't think that we can make the progress that this issue deserves. So, yes, we have to fund our hospice movement seriously. It is very worrying that we're going to fund the NHS to fund death, but we're not adequately funding our hospice movement. So before we take this momentous decision today, and I think we've got to be realistic about it, if this bill was to pass at 2:30, that would be it. I don't personally believe that a private member's bill, which only has 5 hours of debate and many members of Parliament will not be given time to speak, I don't think a private member's bill is the right mechanism. Now, in the last Parliament, I know that this was a very different issue, but we were discussing a certain subject we all know about. In the last Parliament, we had hundreds of hours of debate, questions, scores of civil servants were crawling over the issue. Surely this is even more important. Surely we should have had more than just 2 or 3 weeks to consider this bill. We should actually be looking at the detail. The devil is in the detail in terms of possible coercion and the facilities available to the hospice movement, the issues that I've talked about, the law which is unclear about how you can or cannot relieve pain. Can we just not pause a moment? And really, those are the practical points I want to make. This is so important. The future of so many vulnerable people are at stake. And I really was very struck by the comment which was made earlier from those benches, that we can't consider this just in terms of individual hard cases, but in terms of society as a whole. What sort of society are we? Are we a society that loves our NHS, that loves life, that loves caring, that loves the hospice movement? Or are we a society which believes that there is despair? So I will be voting for hope at 2:30, and I will be voting against this bill.